Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with my instant match reaction for Tottenham Hotspur 1, Aston Villa 2. Where do I start? I mean, what an intense game. What a crazy, crazy game. I'll tell you where I'll start. I'll start with Aston Villa are in the top four, are in the Champions League places. What can we say? I mean, just phenomenal. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Get involved in the comments, your thoughts on today's games, your man of the match, your thoughts on the performance. I mean, what a game. The proverbial game of two halves. Just so intense. But yeah, we came from behind, we came out on top, and let's get into it. Starting lineup. Obviously, we talked about in the match preview McGinn potentially having a knock, Martinez potentially having a knock, and one or two others, carrying a little bit. I think maybe Matty Cash was carrying a knock pre-game, but they all came into the side. They all stayed in the side. Sorry, but the slight change that was made, and Emery's quite like this away from home, is Diego Carlos into that central defensive position, and Ezri Konsa put to right back, and Matty Cash playing further forward. And we'll come to that in a second. But that was how it was lined up, and we started the game. We knew it was going to be attacking. We knew Spurs had a lot of players out, and I did think that Spurs would really go all out, and that's how it turned out. Try and blow us away early, but Matty Cash could have scored right at the start of the game, but he kind of fluffed his lines from a header. But then it was all Spurs, wave after wave after wave of attack. Son had chances, Kulusevski had chances, Brennan Johnson causing problems, Lo Celso causing problems, Bentancur in that midfield dictating playing. It really looked like Villa were creaking and creaking and creaking, and those old habits of that weaker midfield, not necessarily getting close to players, not putting pressure on players, was really starting to tell. And Diaby and Watkins felt really isolated up top, not getting any of the ball, not really getting involved in the game, and yeah, it was like that for right from word go, to be honest. And Tottenham eventually scored on the 22nd minute. Corner came in, and we cleared it slightly. A ball played across from Pedro Porro, and Giovanni Lo Celso, who was in for his first start in a long time, strikes the ball really well. It deflects off Carlos and into the net, and that is 1-0 Tottenham, and they thoroughly deserved it because they'd had a cracking start to the game and really, really, really put us under a lot of pressure. But then, right from the kickoff, Doug, Luca Dean's in down the left hand side, fed by John McGinn, puts a great cross in. Ollie Watkins, glancing header into the corner, and yes, you think it's 1-1. Now he looked quite considerably offside, and that is a poor on Ollie Watkins to not check his run, to not make sure that he's onside. However, when it went back and it went to VAR for about 3 minutes, the margin was minuscule, absolutely minuscule, and but he was offside, and that was ruled out. And then again, the kind of pattern of the game switched back to Tottenham being fairly in control. Now, one part of the game that was a shame, Matty Cash did put in a missed time challenge, poor challenge on Bentancur, and he had to go off injured, and Højbjerg came on, and that kind of stalled Tottenham a little bit, I feel. They didn't quite have the control in midfield. Højbjerg's a good player, but a different type of player to a Bentancur, and we started gradually starting to get involved in the game, albeit some misplaced passes, one or two things going awry. Kamara getting a booking, John McGinn getting a booking as well, which wasn't great, but in that added time, because of the VAR check and the Bentancur injury, Villa get a free kick midway inside the Tottenham half. Up steps Douglas Luiz, wonderful ball in, and Pau Torres powers the header home. Beautiful placement right in the corner, and cue celebrations. Just fantastic header. And after he'd missed an absolute gilt edge chance midway through the first half, where he should have absolutely buried the header. but he made up for it by scoring that. And Villa fortuitously go in and 1-1 at half time. Absolutely, should have probably been 3 or 4 down, but you have to take your chances in this game, and that would have given Villa a real momentum going into that half-time team talk. Albeit, I'm sure Unai Emery got into the players, got them to raise that tempo, got them to get into Tottenham's faces and hurt them a little bit more, while also knowing that the tempo that Spurs started that game with and played that first half with their weaknesses on the bench, there was no way that they could have maintained that for the full 90. So it was great to go in at 1-1, but we definitely got away with it. Second half starts. Matty Cash was taken off after not being great in the first half, positionally as well. Not necessarily his strongest in terms of playing that further forward role. So I feel for him a little bit there, but he was on a yellow card and he was getting targeted heavily down that side. And Moussa Diaby came off, and look, we've got to be honest, he was totally anonymous, and question marks have to be raised as to whether he needs a bit of time on the bench and needs to kind of fight for his place a little bit more. Because, yeah, like I say, he seems to have lost all confidence. There was an occasion in the first half where the ball came across to him. He could have curled it in with his left foot, tried to check back, and then ended up losing it. And he just doesn't seem to be firing on all cylinders at the moment. Leon Bailey came on for him, and the impact was almost instant. Some wonderful, basically, just a real threat down that right hand side, our right hand side, their left hand side. Left something for Destiny Udogie to think about, as well as Brian Hill, who were running riot in that first half. And yeah, right from the off, had a chance, cut inside 2 players, curling shot, keeper spills it, hits the post, hits the back of the keeper, but doesn't go over the line. But that was a sign of things to come. And Leon Bailey was a real threat and a real outlet. Even if he wasn't getting the ball, he was still causing problems. And yeah, Villa gradually more and more got a foothold into the game. There was 1 or 2 chances for Tottenham, but it never really hurt us too much. And 1 or 2 opportunities that were given offside. I think Son, it wasn't his day today. Looked sharp, but wasn't his day. 1 or 2 balls where he put it in the back of the net, but clearly offside. And on 61 minutes, Tottenham again. Like I said about that tempo, they couldn't really keep that going, and they left Tielemans, who had come on at half time, with a lot of space, and Kamara plays the ball into Ollie Watkins. Watkins lays it off to Tielemans. Tielemans plays the 1-2, feeds it into Watkins again, who takes a touch and then takes it really quickly and buries it into the bottom corner. And 61 minutes, 2-1 Villa, and we've made the comeback. We've turned it around, and we know what we like when we take the lead. And then from there, Tottenham really huffed and puffed, and had 1 or 2 opportunities, 2 in particular, sorry, where Brennan Johnson went through. Martinez stayed big, saved it. Ball comes out to Højbjerg, who has a great curling shot, but Martinez tips it round the post, and that really was the key. That really was the points sealed. Again, Bailey has a great effort that is saved, or might have been saved or hit the post. I can't quite remember. Ball comes out again. McGinn, it was saved by Vicario. McGinn keeps it in, loops it across, and Ollie Watkins really should score. Heads it under pressure from Davis, and probably should have been a corner, but that would have gone in for 3-1. That would have been absolutely good night Vienna. But like I say, we rode it out. 1 or 2 corners, 1 or 2 free kicks. But again, like I said, Spurs really ran out of steam, and having to bring Oliver Skip on and then a young lad on, Argentinian lad, wasn't really the options that they had. Whereas we made a sub like Tielemans and Bailey at half time, and then you bring on Duran and Jacob Ramsey for the last 5-6 minutes, and really saw it out. And again, masterful away performance, something that we've been missing, particularly that second half. The first half was like the Villa away from home that we've become accustomed to, but the second half we really looked assured. Douglas Luiz was controlling the tempo again. Kamara was getting in between players, striding forwards with the ball. He had a cracking effort as well, and John McGinn was really having more and more of an influence in that game as it went on, and you could see Ollie Watkins getting more into the game, more touches. Obviously match winner, but 1 or 2 first touch issues, but again, got more and more into the game as it went on. And that defensive line gradually got more and more used to how to play. And Carlos, who started very, very shaky, started to become more of an influence, getting key headers. Pau Torres, just a class act. Luca Dean, again, had a solid game, particularly in that second half. And you could see that, when you go to teams like Tottenham, who've got a huge crowd behind them, it's a big, intimidating atmosphere. You've got to kind of, show what you can do. And Villa really, really did that, particularly in that second half. And what a victory, going into the top four, our third away win of the season. We really set a marker, and Sky were absolutely gutted that Tottenham didn't win, because it puts to bed that narrative of Tottenham and how brilliant they are, and Postecoglou and how well he's done. And that's not a disrespect on Postecoglou, because he has done very well. But look, put some respect on Unai Emery's name. And there we have it, 2-1. Goal in added time of this first half, goal on 61 minutes. Like I say, Luiz gets the FOTMOB man of the match, had a greater influence as the game went on. Oh, sorry, Pau Torres does. Pau Torres gets the man of the match, my bad. Martinez, again, key saves in that second half and really stood up big. Yuri Tielemans and Leon Bailey had a real influence in that second half. And you're looking at the momentum of the game. Yes, Tottenham had a lot of pressure, but look at the key moments in that second half compared to that first half, and we really did show our steel and show what we could do. 62% possession for Tottenham, 38% possession for Villa. Obviously, the expected goals for Spurs was really high, particularly that first half. Had a lot of shots, a lot of wasteful shots as well. 18 total shots, only 8 on target, missing 3 big chances. Villa, though, missing 2 big chances as well from their 5 on target, and we had 15 shots as well. So again, a real intense game, and a game of a lot of goal mouth action. Lots of passes for Tottenham. You'd expect that with the level of possession, but also 324 passes for Villa, and that accuracy I'd imagine in that second half was really, really increased for Villa. So look, I'm not going to say we thoroughly deserve the victory, but what I am going to say is, away from home, you've got to weather the storm, and we showed true character to come back and win that game, which is a sign of a team that is not only moving in the right direction, but that can really challenge potentially for that top four position. 28 points now from 13 games, absolutely phenomenal. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. Your man of the match, they've gone for Torres there. I think he was up there. Luiz again for that wonderful delivery and second half performance. McGinn had more of an influence in the game. Emi Martinez as well. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you think we can finish the season. Can this be a springboard now for these key games coming up? We'll be back later on tonight for the full match reaction with the boys. But that's it from me for now. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are in the Champions League positions. Just absolutely phenomenal. Thank you all for watching. And as always, remember, we'll follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.